Hello students, my name is Nikis. So the first of these topics is going to be vocabulary. Yes, I know, that boring little thing, all about words and how you don't like to read and how you don't like to write. Well, hear me out for a bit. There is a motivation behind expanding one's vocabulary, and there are actually 2 points to this. Picture, if you will, those many times where you wanted to express something, a feeling perhaps that you felt when you experienced certain things in your lives. Now these aren't so easy to express when you don't quite have the arsenal of words at your disposal. And like it or not, this is the way we communicate with one another. So, without further ado, the 2 points we're talking about here are pretty simple actually. To understand what others are saying and to be understood by others. That's the motivation for vocabulary. So if I want to communicate my feelings to you, if I want to communicate what drives me, or if I want to communicate what I'm thinking about to you right now, I have to use my words. And similarly, on your part, if you'd like to understand what I'm saying, if you'd like to understand my thoughts, you'd like to understand how I feel about something, you also have to understand the words that I'm using. This is that motivation of vocabulary. So we're starting with vocabulary because the skills that you learn here, they're going to be divided into memorizations as well as exercises. But the skills that you learn here will be able to help you in both your spoken content as well as your written content. Now, usage, we're going to divide into 2 categories. The first mode of usage would be, memorization. And I know this isn't something that's going to be pleasant for you. So that's why we're going to share with you some things you can consider in your memorization of words and expressions for English. This is the making of flashcards. Flashcards are useful because they allow you to have a quick reference. It's a reference that you can bring with you on the move. It's convenient, it's mobile, and the key to making flashcards, notice I use the word making, you would want to write your own for the greatest effect. Studies have shown that when you write something, it is an exercise, an invested exercise at that, to remember the content which you are writing down. Let's give you an example. Do you catch my drift? Yeah, the word catch. What you want to be doing is, of course, write the word down on the first side of your flashcard, and on the flip side, you write down what we call the part of speech. Yes. But this is not a linguistics lesson, so we won't be going into so much detail. This word, however, when you write down its definition, and I'm not going to be telling you the definition, please look it up on your own. But you might have noticed something. There is more than one definition for this word. So let's write down one of the meanings. To intercept or receive something is catch, and that will be using it in its verb form. Quick recap, a verb is an action word. So verb we abbreviate as V, and the definition here is intercept or receive. Bear in mind that this is just one of the usages of the word. How I used it just now was catch my drift. Catching my drift has to do with understanding what I'm saying. So therein lies a difference in meaning when we use the word in a different context. Finally, you want to make use of the many apps that you have in flashcard making. Although once again, remember, it might not be as useful as when you prepare your own. Writing your own is really for the greatest effect of memorization. The next idea would be sentence mining. Now what this is actually a memorization of the sentences. Why do we want to be doing this? It's simply because of what we mentioned previously, that word called context. Context basically refers to how the word is used in a sentence and how, as you have just been shown, the meaning of that word can change. So here's the first benefit of sentence mining. With using sentence mining, you would kill two birds with one stone. That's an expression there. What that means is that you can take care of the vocabulary and the grammar at the same time. Well, you note down the meaning of the word and its part of speech, and at the same time, you note down how it's used in a sentence, thereby taking care of the context. But the difference between this and the flashcard is you would be making use of the actual sentences to communicate the meaning of the word. Once again, you'd want to be writing these on your own for the greatest possible effect of memorization. But at the same time, you will have a lot of apps and a lot of organized lists of good sentences and expressions to use for your essay writing or your speeches. Here's a third idea of how to organize your repertoire of vocabulary. It's an organized word or phrase book. So here, you'd want to be organizing these into a more complete reference, a phrase book of sorts. As before, you'd want to be writing and organizing your own for the greatest possible effect of memorization. But at the same time, there will be many applications for you to get ideas of how to organize. Memorization is a key step to your usage of the language. Simply because if you don't remember what you've learned, how are you going to use it? That's why we've shared with you 3 ideas, 3 of the many by the way, of how to prepare your words and expressions for future usage.